Right here, this is the Kobe final game autographed by the man himself.
So how long have you been waiting?
Since yesterday night.
21 hours.
A crowd busted through this door in Indiana. And remember, as you're watching these pictures, this is all over shoes.
It matter about these right here.
You could buy a decent pair of sneakers for under $30. Way under. Alas, those days are long gone.
340. All good. All right, let me get you situated. 2 deals at once. I don't know how that happened, but it just did.
He calls himself DJ Clark Kent, and he owns at least 2,500 pairs.
Thank you.
He started buying.
I ain't dropped the album, but the shoes went platinum.
So, let's take this back to 1984. Think what you were doing in 1984. Maybe you weren't even alive. The point is, whatever you were doing in 1984, Nike was doing something way more important. They were about to make history, and a lot of money too. This is all somewhat ironic to think of because they actually reported their first quarterly loss in 1984, meaning they were losing a lot of money. They knew that they needed an athlete that would represent the brand and make Nike top dogs in basketball sneaker game. This is unique because other companies had a few different star players signed, like Converse with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Now, let me introduce you to a young Michael Jordan. Jordan was a very promising rookie entering the NBA after playing college basketball at the University of North Carolina. There was one problem when it came to Nike recruiting him, and that was that Jordan was only looking to sign with Adidas. Now, Jordan had went to a Converse meeting and decided that they weren't for him. About a week later, Jordan was approached by Nike, and Jordan instantly declined. But fortunately, Jordan's agent was able to convince him that he should give Nike a shot. Nike's pitch was really well done and had Jordan stunned after they told him that they had designed the shoe around him. And the big part, that he would be getting an annual salary of $500,000 a year on a 5-year contract, plus stock options and benefits. Jordan was convinced, but wanted Adidas, and when he asked if Adidas would match the deal, they told him that he was too short and that people would be more inclined to buy a taller player's shoe. By the way, he's 6'6". Anyway, Nike signed Jordan and told him that he had to meet one of 3 requirements in his first 3 years in the NBA, or they would end the deal 2 years early. Those were to 1. Make Rookie of the Year, 2. Become an All-Star, or 3. Average 20 points per game. I'll get to those requirements later, but for now, it's time to talk about the Jordan 1.
On September 15th, Nike created a revolutionary new basketball shoe. On October 18th, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, the NBA can't stop you from wearing them. Air Jordans from
Yo,
Nike.
man, this is crazy. Did you hear about those new shoes that the NBA banned? You know, the Jordan ones?
They're not actually the Jordan shoe. You know that, right?
Huh?
That's right, the Jordan 1s weren't banned from the NBA. Now, before I get into this segment, you need to know what a colorway is. A colorway is a style or color in which a certain shoe comes in. You might be wondering why and what was banned. Well, the original Air Jordan had a black and red colorway, and this was against the rules, seen as you couldn't wear super flashy colors. The NBA responded to Jordan wearing this shoe by fining him $5,000 per game he wore them, and Nike decided they would pay the fine. This was huge publicity for the Air Jordan 1, because as said in the commercial, the NBA can't ban you from wearing them. Now back to what I was saying, this wasn't even the Jordan 1. This was a special colorway of Nike's Airships, which was a shoe that laid the foundation for the Air Jordan 1. But people didn't know that this was the Airships. And like I said, it was huge for Nike. They ended up making $55 million the first year they were out, which was Jordan's rookie year. The Air Jordan 1s are still seen by many people, including myself, as one, if not the best shoe ever made. The sheer silhouette of it is extremely iconic and dope. The first 3 Jordans, in general, are extremely amazing, and if you ask most sneakerheads, they'll agree. I'll explain more of what a sneakerhead is later. Oh, and you remember those requirements Nike made for Jordan? Yeah. He did all 3 of them in his rookie year. Now let's fast forward to 1996. At this point, Jordan had made 11 shoes, retired, and then went back into the NBA. But one of his most monumental points of his career was about to happen, and it was out of this world.
They just might save the world. Space Jam.
Besides having a catchy theme song, Space Jam was huge for Jordan. Not only did it bring in sales for the Jordan 11 Space Jam colorway, which is still seen as one of the best Jordans of all time, which is why it's been retroed so many times. By the way, a retro shoe is a re-release sneaker from a while ago with the modern shoe technology and maybe some stylistic changes to fit the time. But back to what I was saying. The Jordan 11 is honestly seen as a must-have sneaker by most people. Every colorway is super remarkable and interesting, from the Concords to the Space Jams and the most recent Breads, black and red. But I'm not finished talking about Space Jam. Chances are if you're alive today, you've seen Space Jam. After all, it is the biggest basketball film of all time. Its gross revenue being $230.4 million and an estimated budget of only $80 million. It's safe to say they made their money back and extra. Now let's travel all the way to today and take a look at modern sneaker and streetwear market. Streetwear being sneakers and the rest of an outfit.
The brands, sneakerheads are a very important demographic. These are the Apple fanboys. Because who else is going to buy a pair of $8,000 Back to the Future sneakers?
The shoes that John Luber, CEO of StockX, a company based on buying and trading sneakers and other streetwear from people all around the world, is talking about is a shoe known as the Nike Air Mag. Originally released in 2011 and again in 2016, it was a reference to the self-lacing shoe from Back to the Future 2. This shoe was sold in extremely limited amounts for retail. Retail meaning the price of a shoe straight from the company, like not the secondary market like StockX, eBay, or a company like StockX named Go. This shoe and more like it can be sold for tens of thousands of dollars on these secondary markets. And people buy this stuff. And the crazy thing is, it happens daily. With the internet, we're more connected than ever. And this means if I think your shoe is cool and unique, even if you live on the other side of the world, I'm only a few clicks from buying your shoe. And especially in recent years, we've had huge sneaker collaborations, like the Travis Scott shoes, artist from Houston. His shoes, the Jordan 1s that he made, they're selling for about $1,000 on StockX right now. Or the Off-Whites by creator Virgil Abloh. If you get the Chicago 1s that he created, they're $5,000 a profit, which is crazy to think about. Plus, we've also seen Adidas making huge pushes in modern sneaker culture with Kanye West and Yeezys. The sneaker industry today, as we know it, is worth $1 billion. Everyone you know has a sneaker. If it's not Nike, it's New Balance. If it's not them, it's Adidas or some other company. The point is, I've grown up loving and caring about these sneakers I put on my feet. And so has the rest of my generation. And the generation before us. And it all started with Michael Jordan. Without him, we would have never had the Nike that we have today. We wouldn't have the sneaker world that we have today. And we might not even have a similar NBA to the one that we have today, with shoe brands and sponsorships being handed out to every new player. I want to end this video by saying something important and really emphasizing this point. The next time you go down a hallway, I want you to notice the sneakers. Recognize every little bit of work that went into that shoe. Realize the craftsmanship. See that those shoes have stories. Not just the ones made by the stars who made them, but also by the people wearing them. I mean, your shoes have a story. It's how you got here. Ever since you picked them up, everywhere that you've walked, that's the story, embedded in the shoes. Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player of all time. If we lived in a world without the sneaker empire that he created, that would be a world without greatness. I want to leave you with this interview that I found of him. Check this out.
If you didn't go with Nike and Adidas got you, how would that change both you and how would that change Adidas and Nike?
Well, it's hard to say that what if. If should never be in the dictionary because you never see the flip side of that. I think the thing that would have been consistent would have been that my play would have dictated, everything off the court.